Okay, should be streaming. Third time lucky. Yeah, few gremlins tonight. Tech isn't my strong point. Coming up in a little bit late, actually, today. A little bit late. Dave Witcher is popping in to have a chat. Too late is the question. Let me quickly check to make sure that this audio is okay. My strong point. Okay, that's all right now. Have had problems with the audio, as you might have noticed this evening. I'm trying to sort it out so that I can play a little bit of what this guy, John Paul Rice, is saying in a video. This is independent Hollywood producer, and he's basically sacrificing his career to putting it all on the line to try and expose human trafficking. And what he has to say is quite incredible, and everybody needs to listen to this and share this like mad. I'll try and get this guy on the show, but I just want you to hear what he has to say before the show, and then Dave Witcher will be coming on. The show will be starting a bit late because of my technical problems today, probably about 15:15. Because this guy talks for 38 minutes and I want to play all of it. Then we'll discuss this and basically where we are as a human society or whatever. Old Witcher and me. God bless him. So look, the comments will open at dailychaos.news /show in about 20 minutes time. So see you there. And in the meantime, this is John Paul Rice. Please listen to this. I know it's out of sync. So what? Just listen to what he's got to say, because it's important stuff. All right. Okay. Catch you in a bit.
Just going to wait here just a moment, see if there's anybody who comes on. I just wanted to talk to a couple of you. My name is John Paul Rice, for the people watching that may not know who I am. My friends know me. I'm an independent film producer. I've been in Hollywood for about 20 years. I started my film career in Remember the Titans, worked at Senator International, later Mandate Pictures under the producers who did Juno, The Grudge, Harold and Kumar, Stranger Than Fiction, and eventually The Hunger Games when they went back into Lionsgate. The reason I wanted to talk to everybody here today is because over the course of the last week or two, we have found out without notification that Amazon.com, for which we have 6 of our movies on there, our film A Child's Voice, which has been on there for over a year and a half in the UK, the United States, and now 70 other countries, was suddenly, without notification, removed entirely from their platform. They unpublished it, and they made it not searchable in most of the sites. We've only tested a few outside of the United States, but the one in the United States, if you put in A Child's Voice in Amazon.com, you can't find it on the 1,100 pages that they'll give you back on your searches. The only way that you can get it is through a direct link, and we discovered this because the director's daughter had sent the links out to several of her friends when the Wayfair scandal broke, as well as the Maxwell files being released in the last 48 hours. And Amazon came back to us. They gave us a very standard corporate non-committal response that said, we make a lot of changes, we do this and that and the other, we judge things based on performance, but they couldn't give us a very specific answer. And we all know what the answer is. What our movie did before Epstein was known about in the public, and before Maxwell was known about in the public, is we found a network of pedophiles among a global network of people who were selling kids back and forth to each other, trading them like candy. It goes right in through Hollywood. If you look at the Daily Beast article, you'll see that Jeffrey Epstein had a pipeline right into Hollywood through Harvey Weinstein. That was last year. I've done a lot of deep dives and research into this, and there is a very satanic element to it, for which we incorporated it into our movie. Our movie is a feature film. It deals with 2 teens, one who's a homeless, heroin-addicted teen, hears the voice of a child who had been killed at the beginning of the movie, calls out for his help, and he goes on a mission to rescue a girl from these human traffickers. They come together, and then they stand up to this network in a spirit of love and courage for all of these children. It's a very beautiful film. It's been well reviewed, well received, critically acclaimed by the people that have reviewed it, and also many users by the thousands, by the tens of thousands, by the millions all over the world have seen this. So when we had all of this come up, we went viral with it on Twitter the other day, and it exploded because we still have one platform left here in the United States, and that's Vimeo.com on demand. What I would like everybody to do is, more importantly, I don't need to get back on Amazon. I already know what they're going to do, and they've got a stack of lawyers, but we're looking for alternative platforms where we can release this movie and get it out to as many people as possible. Our movie is not a documentary, it's a feature film. And we did this based on all the evidence and the facts that we had learned and incorporated into a story that you get involved through the character's journey. Their road to redemption is through love. And this issue of human trafficking, which many people are waking up to today for a variety of reasons, is the issue that defines all of us in our time. The media corporations, the most powerful 6 corporations in the land, in the world for that matter, are all implicated in human trafficking of kids. And I would point to anybody who wants to know more about that to look at Project Veritas and the leak disclosure of off-air footage of Amy Robach from ABC News when she found out and was discussing in 2016 that they had everything from Virginia Giuffre, all of it. Everybody who was involved, they had all the evidence. Their own lawyers said that when all is said and done, Jeffrey Epstein will go down as one of the most prolific pedophiles in all of history, and they buried that story to have access to the royal family, for which we now know Prince Andrew was implicated. They did not have any remorse for the victims in that video. This is a bigger problem because most people know in that world, and the world that I come from in Hollywood, that it is a hidden layer that everybody knows is there. When the Me Too movement started in 2017, I reached out to several of my female actress friends who were prominent in LA. You would know them by name. Many of them you would know by just their look, because you go, oh, that was her in that movie or that movie. And I said, well, what about the children? What about the children? And the response was, we know. But they were silent on it. And it destroyed me because it destroyed my illusion of what rights, human rights were, children's rights were. This is a child abuse system that we have been living in for a very long time, and it's been allowed to go on. And I will not be silent about this because it affects every single one of us. The people on television who smile at you, who tell you stories, who give you news, are the ones who hide all of this from us. They are not talking about the real issues. They are distracting you with division issues. This is a unification issue. When the Maxwell files came out 48 hours ago, I went on MSNBC, I went on CNN.com, and I looked at every single one of their headlines, and there was no mention of it whatsoever. They were talking about John Lewis's funeral. They were talking about Obama versus Trump, all of the bullshit that you and I hear every single day. And it doesn't matter what side of the political equation you're on this. This is a child issue. This is a human issue. This is not a political issue. It has nothing to do with left versus right, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative, or anything you are or you identify with as in between. We are faced with a crisis of consciousness among the leadership of our banking institutions, of our media corporations, of the Hollywood entertainment industry, of the music industry. This is not about a bunch of young women who were having sex with older men and make it about a bunch of perverts. They raped and tortured these girls against their own free will. No matter whether they paid them or not, if you read the articles and you listen to what Ghislaine Maxwell said about the girls that she picked up in West Palm Beach's trailer parks, she was asked, what about the young girls? What are we going to do to them? What's going to happen to them? She said, they are trash, they are nothing. That's a direct quote from the New Yorker. When I went and looked at edge.org, which you can find out was a multi-billionaire club of people that was financed by Jeffrey Epstein. You can go to edge.org today, look up under people, and go to G. You'll see Bill Gates on there as a contributing member of that organization. And you'd have to go back in the Wayback Machine and Internet Archives to look at all the other people. Jeffrey Epstein was right on there. Marina Abramovich was on there. Paul Allen was on there. All the heads of major industries were on there. And if you start reading some of the articles, one of which I have a direct link to that I will share with anybody who DMs me, there is a direct quote on there that said, "Indeed, human beings are, in our youngest years, among the most useless creatures in all of the animal kingdom." This is how they view children, through science. This is their expression. These are people who have no ground to tell you what to think, what to do. So when they get up there and they start espousing their views on social justice or whatever the hell it is, know that you're hearing a controlled and scripted dialogue that is going through a filter by people who are very powerful, who hold a lot of money, and they are controlling and conditioning all of these people through pedophilia. And there's another layer to it, but it's too unbelievable to believe that they would also sacrifice kids. And I'll give you one statistic that you can look up and verify for yourself. If you go to UNICEF and you look up child sex trafficking or human trafficking, you'll find a statistic globally, worldwide, according to the United Nations, that 40 million people a year are trafficked around this world. 40 million. It's a $150 billion a year industry for which has very dark and ugly ties. And it goes all the way up into Wall Street and beyond. But I will say this, 5.5 million children every year are trafficked around the world. 5.5 million, most of whom don't live past age 7 or 8, which means they have to replenish that supply chain. They harvest organs of children on a black market. In China right now, there are concentration camps for young Muslims to the tune of 1 million people. Nobody's talking about this as modern day slavery. They are beating these people, they are re-indoctrinating them, and they are raping their wives to start a new bloodline. That's happening right now in China. You can find that on the Washington Post or the New York Times. Nobody else is saying anything about it in our politics, in our mainstream news. Nobody's talking about it. It is slavery of human beings is going on today, and it must stop, and it is a child abuse issue. All of these kids that were preyed upon, many of them came from bad homes. That's not their fault. But these predators, they come after our children because they can offer them things. They can offer them alcohol, they can offer them money, they can offer them drugs to lure them in. And suddenly, as you will find out if you read the Maxwell testimony, you'll find that what they were doing is they asked Ghislaine Maxwell, well, did you ever talk to her about money that she could earn about giving a hand job or sexual favors to Epstein? And she went through this long explanation. Well, we discussed career advice and I advised her and possibly, told her that where she could advance her career. That's as far as she would go. And then her lawyer cut her off. These people don't give a shit about anybody, and they get up there and they smile in front of you, and they are infiltrated throughout all of our institutions, including government. They own the politicians, right and left. What we are going to find out very soon is that there aren't Democrats and Republicans in the United States government. There's a unified cabal of controlled people who serve these powers, and they keep the theater going for you and I to run back and forth and vote every 4 years. I have watched horror story after horror story, and I promise you this is true. Go on YouTube and find Anake Lucas, who was a child sex slave at 6 years old for the elite. And she will describe to you, she also gave a TED talk on this, but this was in 2016. She talked about the block of wood that she saw with the stains of blood of children on it. The predators are not just raping and having sex and torturing and beating these kids. They're murdering them for pleasure. This is not a pedophile. These are psychopaths. And they have no remorse whatsoever in what they're doing. What we need to do in this world is unify together to protect all life on this planet and the sacredness of children. Because if we are going to make it through this time with all the upheavals that are going to come, socioeconomic, racial, however you want to measure it, this is the unifying issue that the establishment will not give you a movement for. You're going to have to do it on your own. They will give you the Me Too movement because they can make it about hatred of men and weaponize it and make it political. They'll give you the Black Lives Matter movement because they can weaponize it and make it political. They can have Colin Kaepernick take a knee, divide the country, and he walks away with a check from Nike at a tens of millions of dollars NFL star level deal. While Nike has concentration camp, slave labor camp workers working in China at their factories, also our kids can have their Air Jordans. And Colin Kaepernick says nothing about that. Where are our Martin Luther King Jr.'s and our Malcolm X's? They're in celebrity culture. All of these people who get up and say that we live in an oppressive system are taking checks from white men who are paying them. And why I'm saying this is I'm so angry because it all ties into this abuse of human rights. We have to stop fighting each other and unite for this country and this world for our children. I don't care that Amazon took my movie down. In fact, it tells me that we're doing better than ever before and that this issue is spreading all over. 80 million impressions last month alone on TikTok for Pizzagate, for which if anybody looks into it, I tell them, go look at the New York Times coverage in 2016 and look at how they covered it, and then go look at James Alefantis' Instagram images. They completely omitted them. This is the family restaurant owner who is posting pictures of children in compromising positions, and all of the friends that James Alefantis has was talking about how delicious those kids looked. Would you send your child and walk into a restaurant for which the owner is publicly doing those kinds of things on social media in a public forum? Look at Pedogate 2020. Watch Out of Shadows to get an idea of how disgusting these people are. And they have the gall to call you a right-winger or a conspiracy theorist or a white supremacist or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody. I've been called every name in the book, and I'm telling you this. I woke up because I listened to what other people were saying, and I waited and I sought out the truth for myself. I didn't wait for the mainstream media to tell me. Or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody. I've been called every name in the book, and I'm telling you this. I woke up because I listened to what other people were saying, and I waited and I sought out the truth for myself. I didn't wait for the mainstream media to tell me. Or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody. I've been called every name in the book, and I'm telling you this. I woke up because I listened to what other people were saying, and I waited and I sought out the truth for myself. I didn't wait for the mainstream media to tell me. Or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody. I've been called every name in the book, and I'm telling you this. I woke up because I listened to what other people were saying, and I waited and I sought out the truth for myself. I didn't wait for the mainstream media to tell me. Or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody. I've been called every name in the book, and I'm telling you this. I woke up because I listened to what other people were saying, and I waited and I sought out the truth for myself. I didn't wait for the mainstream media to tell me. Or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody.
Hold on.
I've been called every name in the book, and I'm telling you this. I woke up because I listened to what other people were saying, and I waited and I sought out the truth for myself. I didn't wait for the mainstream
I don't know what's
media to
going on,
tell me.
dude. Just a sec.
Or a neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody.
Oh,
Every name in the book. And I'm telling you
just a
this.
sec.
I
Let me see if
woke
I
up
can sort this out.
because I listened to what other
blimey.
people were
Hold on.
saying, and
Hold
I
on.
waited and I
Oh,
sought
no.
out the truth
What's going
for
on?
myself. I didn't wait for the
I
mainstream
don't know what's
media to
going on,
tell me.
dude. Just a sec. Just bear with me, people.
Neo-Nazi. They'll do it to everybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody.
That's curious, isn't it? That is curious. Just a sec. Let me see if I can sort this out.
Because I listened to what other
blimey.
people were
Hold on.
saying, and
Hold
I
on.
waited and I
Oh,
sought
no.
out the truth
What's
for
going on?
myself. I didn't wait for the
I
mainstream
don't know what's
media to
going on,
tell me.
dude. I'll tell you what. Just bear with me, people. That is
They'll do
people
it to everybody.
playing with us. That
Doesn't
is
matter
people
whether you're a
playing with us.
Democrat or Republican. They'll do it to everybody.
That's curious, isn't it? That is curious. Just a sec. Let me see if I can sort this out.
Because I listened to what other
blimey.
people were
Hold on.
saying, and
Hold
I
on.
waited
That is
and I
very,
sought out
very
the
odd.
truth for myself. I didn't wait for the
I
mainstream
don't know what's
media to
going on,
tell me.
dude. I'll tell you
Just
what.
bear with me,
That
people.
that is
Neo-Nazi. They'll do
people
it to everybody. Muslim. These are kings, these are princes, these are heads of state, dignitaries, billionaire moguls, all hanging around Khan. And it's legitimate. It's completely legitimate. They call it yachting. And that's just the dating part of it and having sex for money, which they throw hundreds of thousands of dollars at some of these girls, depending on how long they'll stay with them. These are princes, them to dinners, these are and have sex heads
with
of
them
state,
and do whatever
dignitaries,
they want, orgies,
billionaire moguls,
whatever sexual perversions
all hanging
they
around
have.
Khan. And it's legitimate.
Now it's
It's
doing
completely
it again.
legitimate. They call it yachting.
Now it's doing it again.
And that's just the dating part of it and having sex for money, which they throw hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You know, that was Periscope, which was muted and then suddenly unmuted itself. Okay, you know what? I think we better just start the show because it's a bit chaotic. But I will endeavour to play the rest of John Paul Rice's video tomorrow, and because what he's got to say is quite remarkable. Tomorrow. What am I saying? Tomorrow. No show tomorrow. Yeah. Monday to Wednesday now. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Yeah. John Paul Rice. I'll put a link to that video in the comments as well, everywhere. And I know also that this theme tune is kind of doubling up somehow, and I don't know why. I just hope that I'm not echoing, and that Dave is not going to be echoing. Dave Witcher, God bless him. Too late? Question mark. I hope there's a question mark. Is it game over for the dream of a truly civilized society? How close to midnight actually are we? That's now. And that's enough of that. Probably not least of all because I don't think it is even working properly. I don't think anything particularly is working properly tonight. Apart from you, Witchy Woo. God bless you, mate. How are you, sir?
Smashing nicely. I'm having a good time. Yeah, life's good at the moment, Ollie. I'm really, you know me, I fly high on the vibrations.
Oh, man. Oh, it's lovely to see you. In your man cave. Very impressive, mate. You've got a cool studio, and that's me in the background there on your big screen.
That's you up there, Ollie. Yeah.
Go on, mate. Fame at last.
Fame at last. All the way from Spain.
Yeah.
All the way from Spain.
Yeah, mask-ridden Spain. We were wondering what to talk about tonight. You did suggest the lockdown. What is the deal now? Over here, where I am, everybody's walking around in masks. I'm on the beach, living on the beach, and people are on the shoreline, walking down the shoreline, wearing masks. That's how scared people are of a sea breeze.
It's the media. This has been absolutely fueled and driven by media, the TV, the radio. I'm blessed though that we've got alternative people like yourself popping up. We're trying to provide some level of equilibrium so people can get two sides of the coin, which they haven't had for a long time. Ollie, I watched an interview earlier, a woman called Anna Breeze. She used to be a BBC and ITV journalist.
That's right.
Her channel, her channel's fantastic. She's giving people the chance of sending their podcast. They're going out. She interviewed, and I don't get starstruck, but I found it very curious. Robbie Williams, she's just done a 3-part with Robbie Williams. And I thought, I'm going to listen in because this Robbie has got to be careful and measured on what he says, right? Because obviously Robbie's done very well in life, but he's got handlers, obviously, music industry, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I listened with respect to what the man had to say. And for Anna Breeze to be doing what she's doing, I think we're seeing a massive change, Ollie, in people's. They're now. I think everybody's now realising. Oh, we might have turned down the wrong corner here. You know, but it is what it is.
Out of interest, because you're absolutely right. I used to be a showbiz journalist and interview people like Robbie Williams for a living, and I know that those guys and anybody involved in the media and the mainstream media, full stop. That is employed by social media these days as well, has to be very, very careful what they say because otherwise they're going to lose their job or they're going to get killed. So I am curious to know what did Robbie Williams have to say then?
Well, he was just Anna was asking him questions about, what does he think about the current time period with everything that's going on. conspiracy theories, and it was multi-leveled conversation, and it sort of just flowed a bit like we do. I have to say, I was quite impressed. He said they label people conspiracy theorists. He said, who gives these people the right to say that people with alternative views that use their own minds that they are tinfoil hat wearers? He said, because I'm a boy from Stoke. He said, I'll never forget where I grew up and the road that I grew up. He said, I'll never forget my roots. She said, well, how long have you been awake? He said, I guess I always have been. I've always been awake. I did feel he was a bit measured in his responses, but that's fine. At least these steps are being taken, and I can just imagine what the moguls in the music industry must have just been sat at home holding their trousers. Now, to give you a little bit of a brief, there was a guy in a group a few years ago called Tony Mortimer. And Tony Mortimer was part of E17 with Brian Harvey and that.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, all I'm going to say on the subject, because I know quite a lot, and this is from a very verified source, is that Tony Mortimer, something was going on with the record label manager, and I think Tony settled on an out-of-court thing, hush money, for about £35 million and never been heard of since. So,
really,
look, Ollie,
Blimey.
yeah, we know all this stuff goes on, but I'm just hope and pray every single day that this year 2020 double vision clarity is the year that all of this stuff surfaces and boils to the top, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. When was the last time you and I spoke on the show?
Yeah. Well, on the show quite some time ago. I actually see you in London when we was up there at DRC, and I tripped over, or you tripped over, and I said, Ollie, and you went, oh, it's Richard. We had a quick hug, didn't we? No,
gave you a kiss.
You did, yeah, you did. Give me a kiss,
That was the 29th of March. That was Brexit Day, which wasn't Brexit Day, but was supposed to be Brexit Day, wasn't it? And everybody was, well, I was, and a lot of people were quite disappointed at midnight when nobody bothered to show up down in Trafalgar's, down in Parliament Square to protest the fact that we weren't leaving. Everybody was like, oh no, it's all going to happen. It's just a little transition. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Okay. We'll see. The end of the year, apparently. Another little extension until then. We'll see what happens at the end of the year. Just as a bit of an aside, Dave, do you think that Bojo is going to deliver? David Frost says the right things, the Brexit negotiator.
Ollie, I think you know me long enough to know that if I did it my way, I'd throw all politicians in the River Thames. With their money, of course. And I'd see if they can sink or swim. It'll be deal or no deal. They'll be wanting to pay the banker. Look, I've got no time for them because they just don't represent the people today. They represent the corporate interests. That's all they do represent. Their governance is solely around business money. It's a sacrilege how we've ever ended up in where we ended up. I mean, Brexit, does anyone mention it anymore?
Well, we're not allowed to, are we? Apparently, Boris told us, you've had it, it's done, and therefore we're not mentioning Brexit anymore. We don't need to. But, Brexit, actually, we haven't left the single market. We haven't left the customs union. We haven't left the jurisdiction of the ECJ. We haven't left the common fisheries policy, whatever, as David Curtin pointed out last night, running for mayor. We therefore, what? There's no Brexit at all. Just paid a load of money, created a border down the Irish Sea. It's just a joke. It's a lie to say that Brexit has been done. The Prime Minister has lied. Whether or not we get Brexit at the end of the year, that's another matter. Maybe we will, but I don't know. But Dave, it is just one battle in a bigger war. And it always has been, and that is still the case, is it not? Please elaborate, sir.
I actually think that when Boris takes his telephone conversations and he's getting his instructions from whoever, I think he has a direct line to Al Pacino, and they're running the game together. I think, oh, okay, what are we going to do today, Boris? Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I swear he's got a direct link to Al Pacino. I tell you. Look, Ollie, they've never, ever uh, presented for the people. It's all they hide themselves behind big steel gates with blokes with machine guns, and that's a foolhardy thing to do in my country called England. Because I'll tell you something now, if they continue to carry on down the road they're going down on many elements, whether it's Brexit, whether it's coronavirus, whether it's to do with Pizzagate, all this scandal with the royal family, them gates will be unhinged very, very swiftly, and then men with machine guns stood down very swiftly. That's the way it's always happened in this country. Swift, direct, no nonsense.
You think that might actually happen, though? Because I'm not sure when it comes to it that people have got the stomach for any confrontation. It's almost like people have been too cowed over, decade by decade. Political correctness, common purpose, just had their stuffing knocked out of them. And I mean, if you look at, for example, the police now, bending the knee to a political movement. I mean, for crying out loud, what is there any great really left in the Blitz spirit that was the great British people?
I think. Yeah, I think there always will be that spirit in this country. It's just a case of when it gets ignited. The BLM thing, for me, the police taking a knee, was a show of submission. They were told, they were ordered to do that. Their plan is to weaponize the BLM. They're looking to start some kind of a war. I reckon they are. And yesterday, one of my friends was accosted. Philip Hartley we'd got off a train. He won't wear these masks, and this British Transport policeman got hold of him, and he hit his head so hard against the train window that the window cracked.
It's true.
There you go. So
this is a friend. This is a friend of yours that you were.
Yeah.
And that's GBH for a start.
No, it's allowed in the police. It's allowed. They don't mind that. They love that. That's tolerable. They could have killed him. The way that this guy got hold of him, and he's got his cuffs in his hand. He's got hold of him by his collar, and he forced him into this window. As Philip's come forward, and he's, oh my God, I think the back of his head was all cut. By the way, he's got black eyes. He's got bruised ribs. They've given him a right dusting up. And the crack, you can see the crack on the train window. Now, look, these new trains, they're very super efficient and super insulated, and you know, them windows are going to be...
They don't break. They do not break easy.
Well, he cracked it. He cracked the top of the window. The top left-hand corner of the window was cracked as they cracked Philip's skull. Now, last year, my friend Linda up north, she was being accosted outside her house by the police. There was about 3 SPG vans there. For what reason, I'm not too sure. But her son come out because he wasn't happy with the way that his mother was being treated. Mm-hmm. They smashed his head. This kid was 16, 17. They smashed his head so hard into the windscreen, they cracked the windscreen. And then what did they do? They wrote her up a ticket and tried to prosecute her for it. They done the damage. They are animals. Yeah. We don't have a police service anymore. We have a whatever it is. I'm not too sure. So we're sink or swim now, Ollie. We're in a time period this year, sink or swim. The people have got to choose. And the reality of this this isn't a really difficult thing to sort out. All we have to do is unify. That's why I'm quite pally with Jesse Casanova. He's got the Casanova show. Jesse Perez Casanova. He's got the New Earth Project, and he's asking people all just to come together all around the world in unity, so we can unify. We can take these people to court for unlawful conversion at birth and a planned trespass, because that's what they've done to us, and we can't. We've got to stop this, Ollie. We this year, if we don't stand after, with all the evidence that's piling out there now, with Andrew, with Maxwell, with all the stuff with Pizzagate. Pizzagate is getting 32,000 hits a day on Twitter alone. Can't say the people are arming themselves with their information through the likes of me and you, Anna Breeze, all these other fantastic renegade freelance individual reporters, because you are the resistance, Ollie. You're part of the resistance.
Well, look, mate, I'm going to show you where our hope apparently lies now, at least as far as the Democrats are concerned, and then we can talk around this a bit more. But it looks as though all of our hopes and aspirations are being sorted out by this. What do they call the dementia party? Yeah, this is what they're putting up as their candidate for the next United States.
Have you taken a cognitive
No,
test?
I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his tests and makes your mental state an issue for voters?
Well, if he can't figure out the difference between an elephant and a lion, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me, but I mean, I'm so forward looking to have an opportunity to sit with the president or stand with the president in debates. There's going to be plenty of time. And by the way, as I joke with him, I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say. Anyway, I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Get it out, son.
Incredible. Aside from the fact that he just lied, because he did say just a few weeks ago that he had cognitive tests and was being assessed all the time, is what he said. He might have been lying then, or maybe he was lying on the interview, or maybe he doesn't know when he's lying and when he isn't lying. That actually is the most plausible explanation. But the fact is that the guy is a blithering idiot at best. And this is the alternative to the current president of the United States. I don't know, Dave. I mean, personally, I hope beyond hope that this president is genuinely trying to drain the swamp. It appears to me that he is. I don't agree necessarily with everything that he's doing, but in terms of 90% of it, I think I do. And but I mean, please put up a candidate against that is at least somehow viable. What is your take on election 2020, Dave?
I think it's a similar situation now in the lead up to the presidential campaign as it was back when Trump was a runner last time round, and they admonished him, they laughed at him, they ridiculed him. Everyone said, "Oh, if Trump gets in, I'm moving. I'm going to leave the country." All these celebrities come out and said, "That's it. We're had enough. We're going to sell up." None of them did. It shocked the country. But here's the kicker: if you speak to normal, everyday Americans, you'll find it was them that voted Trump in, and they will vote him in again. The silent thing. I think people have turned away from the mainstream, the big celebrities having the big voices. They're not interested no more. They know it's a farce. They know it's a con. They're tuning in to Twitter, etc., Facebook, Patreon, all these other internet sites, because they kind of get a vibe that they're getting a little bit of the truth. So my personal opinion is Trump will get in again, second time round. He'll do his next term. He'll retire at the age of 78, and I think he'll do a good job for it. Is he draining the swamp? I think he is. We've got to understand that the swamp is massive.
Yeah.
There's that guy that you showed in the interview earlier, with all the child abduction and stuff that goes on. Trump, to drain the swamp is no easy task. And if he's being measured in what he's doing and using his military and doing this the proper way, then God bless him, and may God give him the strength that he needs to do what he's got to do. We've got to clean this world up, Ollie, and that's why you do what you do. That's why Anna Breeze is what I'm watching. That's why Robbie Williams has dipped his toes in and had a feel. Whether he does more, you might see people like him more, and that might encourage others to start speaking out. I tell you what, though, I'm sat here doing my nails on it because I'm not looking nowadays as crazy as people used to think I was.
That's right. I'm hearing that from a few people. I'm hearing that, for example, from my old mate Piers, who comes on the show a lot. But Piers is a lot of his friends, practically all of his friends, are still totally entrenched in cognitive dissonance and are still calling him names on his timeline and stuff like that. I mean, his timeline on Facebook is a battlefield between one guy, Piers, who just wants something better for humanity, and his friends who are like, you're a crackpot, you're a total crackpot. The kind of people that were telling us that we were all wearing tinfoil hats not so long ago, and now they're the ones wearing masks.
Well,
I just wonder, Dave, how much really have people woken up? And I guess the key point or question is, are the numbers sufficient, or will they be sufficient in time?
It's a bit like Alan Carr when he used to do his show. He used to have a topical barometer. It's a tough. You've probably never seen the show. He used to do a thing called the Friday Night Project, and it was Justin Lee Collins, who I know, and Alan Carr. And Alan used to have his topical barometer, and he used to do all this stuff with it. So that it's how deep is the ocean. No one. I don't think anybody truly knows. All I know is that I get encouraged by viewers that are viewing alternative media. When I see someone put a video out and it gets 1 million views or 2 million views, I'm like, wow, take me out of chair. I actually get tears of joy because I'm like, people are really starting to pay attention. Now, Trotsky, he turned around and said at the time, he said, he who controls the media controls the minds. Now, Stalin, he set out, he in front of many people, he plucked every feather out of a chicken, and then he put it on the floor, and he threw it some corn, and the chicken followed him. And he said, this is how dumb people are. After what he just abused that chicken, but then he threw crumbs of corn, so the chicken had no feathers in it, but it was following him to pick up the corn. I mean, come on. That's where we are as humanity, mankind, whatever it is you want to call it. But I think there's some ugly truths that are going to hit the mainstream that are unavoidable. I think the Ghislaine Maxwell thing is unavoidable. I mean, unless obviously she suicides or she slips on a banana skin in the shower. You just don't know. But I'm hoping she stays alive. And so far, I mean, she was the orchestrator of the Lolita Express and the Epstein stuff. And I mean, it's too big now to ignore. This is it. It's make or break. We've got to come together. We've got to clean this place.
The media is, though, aren't they? I mean, Clinton was accused in unredacted court documents that came out, last week or the week before, saying that he'd been on Pedo Island, Epstein's Pedo Island. It was the local islanders, the next island along, the locals, that called his island Pedo Island. And Pedo Island, there's Clinton on there, apparently, with a bird under each arm. And apparently, not just girls, but sex slaves. And the media practically ignore it. I did see, in credit to them, often the case actually, Daily Mail, credit to you, they put it in their running order. Halfway down the page, that was it. The rest of the media that I saw, they buried it. They didn't cover it at all. They barely covered it anyway. Not enough for it to be in my memory. Imagine had that been Trump. Yeah, it would have been front page, top page. I mean, the way they went after him with the Russians for 3.5, 4 years, and it turns out it was a crock of crap. There was no truth in it whatsoever. Imagine what they would have done if he was caught up on Pedo Island, yeah? The Clintons, so she still wants to be president. She hankers after that. And he was president and is still a central figure in the Democrat Party, as is his wife. Key links with the Obama administration and all the rest of it. And the media Just ignore it. The media, Dave, just talk about an info war. Can we win this info war where we're getting shadow banned by some shitty network called Facebook, and then you've got the mainstream media who just are just distracting at every turn, telling us to wear masks. Shut up, pleb. Wear your mask.
The way I see it is the feelings that I've got and people that are talking to me and in their droves is that I think people are very distrustful now of the mainstream. They're seeing this draconian stuff coming a little bit too hard. People have navigated away. They're not paying it. I don't think people are paying attention to the BBC and all them Channel 4 news. I think they've lost their narrative. Freedom of the press was always something we used to be really proud of in this country. Now, look, I am a very proud man, Ollie. I am a very proud English man, a man but living in England. I'm proud of my country. I'm proud of the people. I love the people immensely. And this is why I do what I do. But our press are collared. They've got collars on them. And they're owned and controlled by the government. And now that is a very sad state of affairs. That's no different from Nazi Germany, I'm afraid. They need to be brave now. The journalists need to be brave. They need to follow people like Anna Breeze. They need to help us push this over the hill and get this out and let everybody in this country know exactly what's been going on. That would be complete freedom of press, Ollie.
Let's take some comments, see what people have got to say. I'm just trying to open up the comments in various places. We got LaBelle here. The way it looks, it may need another generation of Trump to succeed the current Trump. Who knows? And also says, but I have to. Where USA versus Russia goes, I have never felt so safe as I do with Putin and Trump in power. I don't know what the Russians would say about that, in fairness, because he reckons he's going to stay in power or have the option to do it for another 12 years or something like that, 14 years. But Amanda Rolfson, now we know why Trump does not like the Clintons. He knew what they were like. It all makes sense now. And Carlos says, I like Trump, but he can't even arrest Hillary. Why? Is he a shill? Is he real? And then Amanda says, oops, you vanished again, Ollie. Yeah, I did. Apparently, I vanished for a while and I came back. Guess what? Yeah. No, the reason he hasn't arrested Hillary, it seems to me, I agree with you, like you said, Dave, is because he's surrounded by swamp. He has spent almost an entire presidential term with one arm tied behind his back and a leg. Yeah. Hopping along, like that bloke, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I'll bite your legs off. Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it's just nuts, isn't it? It's nuts. The deep state is like a cornered tiger. There's a tiny few people that do not want to go to prison. And they don't give a damn how many people die to save their skin from going to prison. And I mean, they would see everybody die apart from themselves if it could save them. They are psychotic. That is the bottom line, isn't it? I mean, we are dealing with a psychotic elite, this cabal.
Mate, absolutely. Look, the most dangerous time to tackle a snake is when it's cornered. I actually do think that there's just too much out there now on all sorts of different platforms. I've got a guy that I'm following on YouTube right now. He calls himself an old man in a chair. His name's Vernon Coleman. He's a retired general practitioner. And mate, I am telling you, he is getting some following. He's got loads of subscribers. His videos get thousands and thousands of views. And I've reached out to him, and said, look, Vernon, I want to get you on the show, man. We need to, because look, I just want. I'm desperate and I'm excited every time I talk to someone. Because I just want people to bumble across it, get the information, and go, "Oh, I never knew that. I'll go and have a look into that." David Icke, actually, a couple of months ago, he did a live stream with London Real, Brian Rose, and he had over 1 million streaming at once. That's amazing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Over 1 million streams at once. It went viral, and they tried to deplatform it from everywhere. Now, I done a YouTube video the other day. I shared a video of a Dr. Stella Emmanuel, who's a Kenyan woman, African, brings the gospel. She said, "I'll bring fire to my ministry." She's a minister, but she said she's treated over 400 people with this so-called virus with hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pak, and zinc, and none of them have died. Well, I put a testimony up in the interview that she did with some reporter who tried to make her look crazy, but she smashed him. She proper ruined him. YouTube pulled that and said that I was spreading misinformation. Well, I wrote to YouTube and said, "Excuse me, the president of America himself has publicly said," cheers, he said, "I took hydroxychloroquine himself. How can that be misinformation?" And he's defunded the WHO. Donald
and
Trump.
Also, Ohio have just told GPs, if you want to prescribe it to your patients, it's your call. And so it's not just the POTUS now who's done his 14-day course, for example, and swears by it. So what did you... I take it you didn't get a response from YouTube?
Not as of yet. And this is the thing, isn't it? We've got an air of arrogance that runs through Facebook. I get it. They designed their platforms. They created them. So, they run the show. They're like nightclub owners.
But that's not good enough. Because when people join a network, a so-called social network, and they start building up networks of people around them, and they're encouraged to do that. And it's not just about friendship. For a lot of people, I mean, the reason I got involved in Facebook was pure and simple because of politics, because I was fascinated to find out what people had to say. And when that whole Brexit thing happened, I think, then I really kind of got more involved. But it was always for me about the politics and seeing what people were saying in the political groups and all that kind of stuff. Facebook has actively encouraged this. It's not a dissimilar deal with these other social networks, and YouTube and what have you. And then when you build up a page or a group or whatever, then for them suddenly to be able to turn around and say, "You know what, we're turning off the tap," or we're not gonna, people that want to see your content, that have subscribed to see your content, we've decided we are playing God. They can no longer see your content. We're turning off the switch. We're shadow banning you. That is highly immoral now. Whether or not whoever set this platform up, whether it's, Zuckerzitz or his dorm mates or the CIA, the FBI or whoever the hell it was, Soros, because he is Soros' nephew, isn't he? Nick Clegg, the pedo lover, eulogised bloody Cyril Smith. I mean, these people are filth, frankly. Whoever it is, the fact is that you can't encourage people, say, come and, do a social, whatever it is, have a chat with people, political groups, all good and fine, and then change tack on that, can you? Without it being, for maybe the greater good, and I'm not saying it's easier to choose on this, but some kind of congressional committee comes along, for example, like might be happening in a second term of a Trump presidency, and says, "You know what? We're changing the ground rules here, and we're, I know you're a private business, but the fact is that there is a bigger thing at stake, and it's called freedom of speech." My point, Dave, is that it is highly immoral, is it not, for these people who have fact checkers? That Raheem Kassam the other day, he put out a piece showing, providing evidence, loads of evidence, that practically all of these people involved in the fact checkers for Facebook are ex-CNN employees and hugely Democrat donors. And these are the people that are saying, "Oh, if you've got conservative views, shut up." And I don't want the socialists, the liberals, capital L, not small l. I don't want them shut up. I want to hear a balance of view personally. But anyway, you hear what I'm saying? Is it not highly immoral what we're seeing, and actually Goebbels-esque.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. It's you can talk about whatever you like on internet platforms, provided it's in that postage stamp mentality, provided it's talking about systems that are already up and running. The minute that you start trying to talk about other things, I mean, and Trump taking hydroxychloroquine, he stunned that media that day. They could not believe what their president was saying. They were like, "Oh my God!" So we have the light and the dark, the chalk and the cheese going on right now. But to suppress the truth and to sit on the truth, regardless of what it is, the children, all the abuse of the children, Andrew, Prince Andrew, and that car crash of an interview that he did
With Emily Maitlis.
You will not be censored if you talk about the postage stamp mentality. If you talk about EastEnders or knitting patterns or what's gone on in the world today,
great.
fine. But the minute you start talking outside the box openly and freely, that's it. It's game over. You will get censored. I lost a profile on Facebook, 16,000 people. I had my own little army of Witcherites. It was, I never, my mum said, "My word, you're getting a bit busy." I was like, "It's unbelievable, Mum. People are genuinely listening to what we've got to say." So, Ollie, they can't stop it now. There's too many people out there. Kate Schiamani, a natural nurse for a toxic world. She's all over Facebook. She's been deplatformed so many times. But I was watching her sometimes, and she had over 1,000 viewers live streaming on her. People are hungry for this information. Now, my friend went for a chiropodist visit up West Midlands the other week to have her feet done. She wouldn't wear a mask. She's casual about not wearing a mask. And this
she had clean feet. Yeah, she didn't need a mask.
Well, I think she'd just come out of the shower. I'd hope so. She didn't have her trainers on all day. And this nurse was doing her feet, had a mask on. And my friend said to her, "Look, do you know how do you feel about having to wear that?" She said, "I absolutely hate it." She said, "It is degrading." She said, "But I'm out of a job if I don't." She said, "They make me feel nauseous, make me feel dizzy." And she said, "It's all a load of baloney." She said, "I follow Kate Schiamani online." And my friend was sat there thinking, "Oh my God, the people on social media have the narrative. We have the narrative. It's what we do with it now, Ollie. It's what we do with it. We've got to be very careful on where we go, man, because we do. We as a collective, you, loads of us, we're all singing the same kind of vibration, change, difference. We hold this in the palm of our hands now. And,
mate, that's cool, mate.
We can. We hold the future.
I'll tell you why that's cool, Dave. I mean, I think you are similar to me in that I personally, bugger all people see this show for the simple reason that it is, on Facebook, for example, it is constantly shadow banned. Daily Brexit, the old Daily Brexit page, now the Daily Chaos page, has been shadow banned constantly, on and off, for years, actually. For years. And my profile is and all the rest of it now. And I do find it quite disheartening a lot of the time that it's impossible to build things up. But on the other hand, it is the number of us, isn't it? If just, even if we've got small communities individually, the fact is that collectively it's getting out there. I don't know. I'm seeing people in the comments. Stuff like, Cheltenham is on the case tonight.
Good.
GCHQ.
Come on, Cheltenham. Come on, let's have you.
Because the stream keeps falling out. And there's no reason why it should. I don't know whether it's because of that video at the top of the show or whatever. 77 Brigade, Harold Chapman says, are busy tonight. Have had to refresh about 5 times. And he wrote that comment about half an hour ago. And I reckon that people have had to refresh another 2 or 3 times since then. I've got Simon Bean coming back on the show for the 3rd time in a few weeks. God bless him. On next Wednesday. To talk about 77 Brigade. I didn't know. 77 Brigade is an army regiment, Dave, which is there to spy on the British people.
Absolutely.
I didn't know. I had no idea about that. I feel so ignorant about most things.
England is really an industrial military complex with how you look at a system operates. especially after cracking my mate's head open like that on that train window and cracking the window. I mean, it's gone beyond laughable. It's pathetic and it's sick. It's twisted. These people will get their comeuppance. We do hold that. We have that power now, Ollie. We're in quite a powerful position. As much, we've got people from some really good walks of life that are now really being brave. And like I've mentioned her a couple of times, I'm overwhelmed with Anna at the moment because she is just knocking it out of the park. And it's going mad. So everyone's now getting
bless her.
so excited about getting her information. So I've asked Anna for an interview. I want to talk with her. She's down West Country. And I can remember actually. I've been looking at her a bit more in depth, and I can remember seeing her interview people on the TV years ago. And just imagine, right? You're talking about being deplatformed, but can you just imagine the people at Fact Checking HQ at Facebook? They must all be sat there, must all be overweight, sat there with their bowls of chips and that round, they're just dibbling in with their earphones and their fingers. When they see us pop up, they must jump out their chairs. They must jump out their chairs and go, "Oh no, not another one, we've got a censor." And they look, we're keeping them busy. It's cat and mouse. Let's continue to do it. Let's send them love though. Hello, Facebook. Let's send them all love and tell them you're wasting your time. Sort it out because we are going to win this war. The information war has been won. We've won it. Bow down and just let the truth come through because we don't wish you no harm.
Okay, let's take a few comments. See what people have got to say. Shan Tiggs, there's a new Rose Ike one now, filmed a few days ago. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Go to London Real platform, independent now. Tell us about that, Dave. You know about that?
I mean, Brian Rose has got, I think he's like an investment company, a futuristic company up in London. He's an American man that come out the stock market, made fortunes, and decided to go down a different route with his life. I think London Real, they do some really good stuff. And he stumbled across Ike probably about a year and a bit ago. And he decided to interview him. And when he interviewed Ike the first time round, it was explosive. It was, this isn't the one that got the million streamers. That was the second time around. But the first one, I don't know whether Ike had some champagne, whether he'd taken a Viagra, but he was on form. He was on fire. The man was talking fire. And it just was such a pleasure to watch. And as soon as it went out, it got pulled from there, pulled from there, pulled from there. But luckily, with the interweb and the way it works, the way they pull one down, it pops up there. They can't control this. This is uncontrollable because they need the system as it is needs the internet far more than we do. So yeah, they can't pull the net. It's out of their control. They could never do it because it's controlled and run from the whole world. You know, if England says, right, we're shutting the net, I don't think it could because the whole world is a super wide web. So yeah, the Ike stuff that Brian Rose has done is just awesome, and I think Brian Rose is I think he's got a bit of a fond affection for Ike. He really has, as I have. We all love a bit of Ike, and people have said to me in the past, well, he goes on about reptilians. And I said, I'll tell you for why he talks about stuff like that. It's to diffuse and to take the heat off of him, because if he talks like that, he's hoping that the system don't take him too serious while other people get the message. So maybe that's the reason why he's been talking about all this stuff, or maybe genuinely there is something in it. I don't know. Who knows? I don't suppose any of us will ever know. All I know is that the last stream he did prior to this one 2 days ago, 1 million people were streaming that at once, which was awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely. I'm just having a look actually at the website for London Real. Let me see. I can't pull that out very well because I haven't got the thing set up properly. But LondonReal.tv, fighting for free speech since 2011. Over 800 long-format interviews with the most important voices in the world. We provide access to the truth, celebrating different views, perspectives, and insights. Transform yourself with London Real, and they've got Mike Graham from newstalk.co.uk on the front there. Common sense needs to prevail. How our leaders and media have misled the population is a quote from him. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, I like Mike Graham. He's one of the few people in the mainstream media. In fact, about the only one I can think of, really, in the UK that is worth listening to. But even he, in fairness, even he doesn't really go down the rabbit hole. But I suppose it is a bit like with Trump. It's how far do these people go? You go to a certain extent, but how far can you go? But then again, Mike Graham, he didn't vote for Brexit. He voted to stay. So I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to work it out.
Do we talk about that now? Brexit? Does anyone still remember Brexit?
Blimey! I'll tell you what. If we don't get it on the 31st of December, they're going to remember it on the 1st of January.
You're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. And there's no way, because I see all this. When you look at the Bilderbergs, everyone from around the world comes to these Bilderberg meetings. We know Kenny Clark and all these, the King of Holland.
Just made a lord.
They all sit there. So they've come up with this plan. So this, for the last couple of years, the European Union had to put the last few nails in that coffin. And they had to come up with some distractions, problem, reaction, solution. So whilst we've been all over there looking at Brexit and then realising we've got nowhere, then they had to come up with another diversion. So another diversion was COVID-19. So now we're all looking over at the COVID-19. We're all scratching each other's eyes out because someone won't wear a mask. And the ironic part about that is, if someone's not got a mask on and someone else has got a mask on, and the one that's got the mask on wants to take the eyes out of the one that hasn't, it must mean that their masks don't work, right? It's true. It's like, well, if you wear a condom, you're pretty confident that you're not going to have a little Olly. So if you've got a mask on, why would you be worried about someone that wasn't having a mask on? So it's all this stuff, all of what's going on is a distraction. It's just focus on this. And the European Union's going, right, okay, another screw down. Mate, I tell you now, we are close to some civil uprising in this country. And for me, for one, I want to see it. I want to see it peaceful. I want to see the people take back their country. I want to see that. And I hope, I'm praying that I do.
Okay, let's play conspiracy theories. Because mine is that, well, not just theories. Because mine is, if the deep state, the cabal, whatever, the globalist fascists, if they manage to steal the US election in November, then the first thing that the dementia candidate will say is no treaty with the UK, no trade deal, back of the queue, all that by Obama type rhetoric will come back to the fore. And then Boris will go, oh, we've got a bit of a problem here. Better have another Brextension while we have a think. And it seems to me that is the plan. Because had it not been the plan, what he should have done, Boris, I would have thought it was the obvious thing, is first of all to tell the EU, no way are we going to put a border down down the Irish Sea and all that nonsense and become a vassal state for a year while, we're subjected to the ECJ, which is exactly the deal. And instead of that, WTOs for now. That's what they voted for. So there you go. And got a trade deal with the United States, or at least got it negotiated that he could then take that deal to Brussels and say, what's your bid? What's your bid? But he didn't. Useless. Absolutely useless.
Here's the thing, right, Ollie?
But it's okay. So tell me, if they get their way and they get their puppet in power, Biden, who won't even be, he'll just be probably in a hospital bed somewhere, and we'll have somebody else in charge or whatever. And they're none of them in charge. And if that happens, is Brexit off? If, on the other hand, and this is really the question to you, because you almost answered the last one, this is the real question then to you. If, on the other hand, Trump does continue and win the election and the voter fraud or whatever is thwarted, the postal ballot thing, then does Boris have a choice but to deliver Brexit?
if Trump does lose the election and sleazy Joe Biden, who loves children, gets in, then would that alliance with Boris still be the same? No, I don't think we can answer that honestly, because we don't know how Joe Biden would come to the table.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, he would do exactly what Obama did, for exactly the same reason that Obama did it. And that is because they were told what to do, which is you make sure the UK stays in with the EU.
When is their presidential thing? It's not long, is it? It's soon.
November. It's about 90 days.
Right, so yeah, they've not long. My personal feeling is that, from what I see and how I feel, I think Trump will definitely get in second term, and he'll retire at 78, and then hopefully. And I think if he gets in for the second term, which I think he will do, because normal everyday American people voted him in the first place, then he's going to be a lot harder and a lot firmer with what he's doing than he has been thus far. I think his second term, if he gets in, which I pray he will do, I think he will do. I can't see there being any other. I think Sleepy Joe Biden's dreaming. But we'll see.
Oh man, I tell you what, I so hope you're right, Dave. But I just wonder if that isn't a little bit wishful thinking, because these people that want to overturn democracy, they're evil. They don't give a stuff, and they are in danger of ending up in Gitmo.
It's a bit like, right, taking a punt on Trump now and hoping and praying that he 100% gets in is a bit like watching the England football team a few years ago, or 0-0, and then put David.
He's got more chance, in fairness, than the English football team.
Faith in Seaman in the goal and say Seaman's going to save. Seaman's going to save. So yeah, it's we don't know, mate. We don't.
Gaz is not going to get carded.
Yeah, we ain't got crystal balls for a fact, but just.
Yeah.
What EMSN and the BBC had they portray Trump is this blah blah blah, but if you actually talk to many normal down to earth Americans and actually go to America and see the support and love that Trump has, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but that's not all of it. I agree with you. I'm not saying that he's not more popular than Biden and that he would win if the contest were fair. I'm suggesting that the contest is very likely to be stolen. Whether or not they get away with it is another matter. But we see that they're trying it. I mean, I look at the US press every day, and they have been talking for weeks about postal ballots, months, and it's only going to get more to the case. Nevada passed a law the other day whereby they could send out a postal ballot to every person in the state. Every person that is eligible to vote now, or when they were alive, or when eventually they are naturalized as American citizens, but at the moment they're living in Mexico. It's just an absolute joke. That's what he's up against. I do wonder if people are just being a little bit complacent, Dave, to be honest with you, in the same way that I go to some of these Brexit news groups on Facebook and just point out that we don't actually have Brexit yet and get shot down in flames by somebody who wants to have Boris's babies.
Oh, well, they all want Boris's babies. And Boris.
And they probably all can have Boris's babies.
Look at Boris. He caught the coronavirus. Next thing, he's in intensive care. A week later, he's out making speeches again on the BBC. I mean, I nicknamed him Lazarus. He's an intensive. Oh, they say he's sitting up now playing games. He's probably got his hand up the nurse's skirt. We know he's quite fruity. There's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is, for someone that had coronavirus and ended up, he's in intensive care. Everyone, the whole country, and we hope Boris is all right, pulls through. Next thing, he's back up on the BBC going, getting all his orders out. It's farcical. And everyone goes, oh no, he definitely had it. I'm like, have you actually seen anyone on a ventilator with COVID-19? They're normally out for about 2 months. What have you? Are you having? They can't even talk. Are you sure? This man's had it a week and he's been in intensive care now. Look, he's Lazarus. It's a con. We're being gaslighted. There's gaslighting going on like there's no tomorrow now. It's got to stop. But listen, we're at a toss up now. People, if they carry on like this, they're going to inherit the future they deserve, brother. And that's all I know. If they passively accept this police brutality, all this mask, you must wear a mask. We're going to force you to wear a mask. If not, we're going to take you down to the Gestapo test centre. And the Germans had a saying, "Oh, we're doing this to keep you safe, all in for your safety." And that's all you on the radios now. Oh, coronavirus, do it for your safety. My mate had a test kit come through for his kiddie. It was supposed to be going to university. They said, "Oh, we're sending this test kit for him, make sure he's all right." They'd done the test on an orange. They sent the test kit back, and it came back. Oh, you're positive. So for Satsuma, I'm not sure what it was, or an easy peeler, had tested positive for COVID-19. My mate told me yesterday they were queuing up for 3 hours in a COVID test centre line to have a COVID test. They went home, they got a receipt, they got a thingy the next day. Oh, you've tested positive. They never even had the test. It's a con. We're being swindled. Look, I'm not saying that there's nothing going on out there. There is, but I don't think it's any worse than the common flu. Right?
Yeah.
30,000 people die in this country of the flu. We're not seeing them numbers. And so now what's happening with the NHS and everything like that? What's happening to kids with cancer? What's happening to the elderly with cancer?
Yeah.
The doctor's surgeries are closed. The NHS is not busy. If there was genuinely thousands and thousands of people going, the hospitals would be ransacked. There'd be bodies everywhere. There'd be a stench of death from top to bottom of this country. It ain't happening. It's a con. It's a con. We're being conned.
Dave, thank you for that. I couldn't have said it better, and I couldn't have ranted it any better either.
Sorry, darling.
It is incredible. However, the death stats. I was looking at the stats on the what is it, gov.uk/death, and they have gone up. They have gone up. So,
of course they're gonna.
But that's not necessarily due to COVID or whatever. But
No.
and by the way, the kind of stats that they are don't suggest to me, it's Black Death. Wear your mask and all that. They don't suggest that to me at all. They suggest to me that it's not very pleasant. But maybe you just got to look after your health generally and all the rest of it. But what do you think about that? The fact that the death rate has gone up by some tens of thousands over the same time last year. So, as I understand it,
there's no people ain't been. It's not being written up. So here's the clever thing: the death certificates are being written up as tested positive for, not for dying of. They've taken the coroner out of the situation as well in this country. Very dangerous thing.
That's right.
Due process of law, whatever it is, this law thing is. So you get double bagged, you get taken to the incinerator, and that's it. See you later. Bye. Thanks for your life. It's cheap. It's dirty. It's really cheap. So my friend's mother passed away about 8 weeks ago up in Wolverhampton, Liverpool, wherever. The nurse, the Macmillan nurse that was doing the end of care, obviously mother had passed. She phones the doctor. Doctor, we've got a body. So the doctor turns out, and my mate, he had heard the doctor and nurse, we'll put COVID down this one. So she came in and went, excuse me, my mother had heart issues. She had heart issues. She didn't have COVID at all. They said, well, that's what we're putting down. So she kissed her mother, screwing her lips. Her mother had just passed away, God bless her. And she said, you better test me now. And the doctor started having hissy fit for all these papers up in the end. She went, no, come on, test. And she said, well, put the proper reason down then. So he wrote it up as a proper thing. We know there's too much evidence out there now to suggest that the government have fudged all these numbers, mate. They're treasonous, dirty, nasty people.
I looked.
Where's all the cancer people gone? Where's all the heart attacks going? All COVID. It's, no, this ain't right, mate. It's wrong.
I hear that. I hear that. I looked at the government, the UK government's advice to doctors, and also the actual document, and also the equivalent from the Centre for Disease Control in the United States, advice to, again, medical practitioners in the States. And they said the same thing, which was, when it comes to the death certificate, if in doubt, put down COVID-19. And we also know that the antibodies test, the CDC at least, the Center of Disease Control, again in the States, they said to their general guidance notes with regards to this antibodies test, which everybody's like, oh God, the States is on fire. Got to have more lockdown, postal ballots. We know from the CDC that they're telling people that if you prove test positive, it might be because at some stage in your life you had the common cold.
There you go.
And one other thing, one last point, Dave, is that I'm hearing, and again, I mean, maybe all this is lies. I think probably from the CDC, those facts above, are not lies. And from the government notes to doctors, that fact, not lies. Something I cannot verify quite so easily, but I'm hearing a lot of, is doctors in the States, at least, and I've heard one or two cases in the UK as well, saying if you don't put COVID-19 down on as a cause or whatever, then you will not get as much funding for your hospital or your trust or whatever. And therefore, there is financial blackmail going on within the medical fraternity. I just find it incredible that there are no questions about, well, I don't, because the media is corrupt. But it's disgusting, isn't it?
I've got
Disgusting.
A 7 or 8 page thing written by a guy called Dr. John Lee, former consultant pathologist at the NHS Trust, and he lives in Hull. And he's writing a monthly magazine thing. This was a month and a half ago. And he says here, look, he says at Section 8, he says the health service has not been overwhelmed nor likely to be. He is calling it out for what it is. And there are a lot of people in the NHS, whistleblowers, that quite frankly need to find the courage now, because we're all in this together, by the way, to speak up, because you're bringing in a totalitarian dystopia that you nor your families are going to like. So speak up. Time to speak up. Time to shine the light on the darkness, Ollie. That's what we need to do.
I just want to read a few comments. God bless you, everybody. I'm going to be better with the comments. Amanda Rolfson, Bojo did not have it, though. The blood tests came back negative, or so I had been reading. Also, the nurses that were mentioned, their names were not on the register for nurses that we are able to check out. That was Kezi that put me onto that. Fruit, engine oil, and clean swabs have tested positive. For goodness sake! Lots of laughs, says Amanda Thompson. Libertarian 1986, funny that Boris was incapacitated for 2 weeks, and he would be 25D if he was president. And he would be 25D. I don't know what that is. Amanda Rawson says, not sure there's a place in America named Prince William, so think they may be linking it this way. I cannot find anything on it, though, as have been looking. Carlos says there's still not been a risk assessment for wearing a mask. You know, Dave, that is incredible, isn't it? I mean, I've been hearing, again, from doctors, the kind of folks who you get banned, as you said, and me too, getting jailings or what have you for sharing, GPs, not neurosurgeons who don't have anything to do with COVID-19, but GPs, who general practitioners, doctors, regular doctors who have patient relation, the fine out. Anyway, and they are saying that hydroxychloroquine is helping with zinc or whatever, and also some of them, not all of them. Well, the ones I've seen on YouTube, they've been positive about it. Yeah, where's the debate? Apart from Fauci, who doesn't have patients, does he? He's an epidemiologist, and actually he's a money man. And the other day, and how can we trust? Just while I'm on the rant, bear with me, Dave. How can we trust a guy who says if you've got a business, you've got to stay at home and all bugger your employees and bugger your customers. But if you want to have a riot, that's fine. I mean, how can we trust Dr. Faustus that doesn't? He went on whatever news show the other night, and for 5 minutes, it was Senator Jordan was grilling him for 5 minutes, asking him, well, God bless you, Mr. Jordan, asking him, why can you tell businesses you have no right to go to work, to earn your crust, to feed your family, and yet it's fine to go and intimidate the police and set cars on fire and burn buildings and throw bricks that have conveniently just been put in your path.
Exactly.
It's just nuts, isn't it? And Fauci was like, "Hey, I don't take a political stand on this." And Jordan was like, "But you told the businesses they have to go home, and you told people that wanted to go to church you're not allowed to go, and yet you're not. You're telling me, you're honestly trying to tell me that you don't think that there's a problem when people are protesting at the police, shouting in their faces, and they're not wearing masks." And Fauci's like, I can't take a stance on this. You're an ass! Sorry, Dave. There was a point to that, right?
And it is a bit of a point, which I don't know, I think people might really need to pay attention to.
Go on.
Everyone since this thing's happened in March have been experiencing some nice times, because most people that have been employed by companies have been on this thing called a furlough. Now, when I first heard about this, I thought it was something you did when you went to the races. It was some sort of a jump or something. And then someone had to explain to me what this furlough was. Now, there's been a lot of people getting 80% of their wages. Some people have been getting 100%. Now, what's happened is, where everyone's been at home, the dogs, you can't buy a dog at the moment for less than silly money. Golf clubs have gone through the roof. Anything that's a little bit of a sport or a pastime has gone through the roof until they stop the furlough. Now, the furlough is due to stop very, very soon. And the guy, the Minister of Finance, I can't think what his name is, some Asian-looking guy. I think what his name is, Sunny, I can't think. Anyway, and he smiled about it. I tell you what, if most end up with no furlough and they go back to their employer and their employer says there's no work, man, you're going to see a war in this country. You are going to see people come together on the streets quicker than you can say Bruce Springsteen up a drain pipe. I'm telling you, it's coming. Furlough is going to stop. Everyone's at home having a nice time. The government have been very clever with this furlough thing because they've kept the people pacified. They've kept them happy. They're having a swindle. Oh, I'm getting paid for this. Oh, I'll have a mask on. Yeah, no problem. You wait till that furlough stops. No more furlough for you, my friends. Bosh, they're going to really be active. And that's when we're going to see our golden chalice, our moment, Ollie. Look, it's coming. I can see things happening before they roll out. Then all the dogs will be going into the Battersea dog zone. Dogs you'll be able to buy them for 20 quid because people won't be able to afford them. They all know now. We've got a friend of ours that paid £3,000 for a spaniel, trying to find it another home because they know the furlough stopping. It's coming. It's our big wave. That's the second wave. The second wave is the end of this furlough, mate. I'm telling you. I don't know when the second wave's coming. I don't know where we've got to go to Margate for that or Broadstairs to see this second wave. But I've worked all the way through this. I've never worn a mask. I won't wear one. I'll wear one when I'm at work if I have to, for rubbing down when it's my will to wear a mask. But I don't see the science backing this up because
there isn't any. There's none. It's quack. It's like they're just a bunch of quacks. I mean, it really is. This is the science of the quacks.
Yeah, it is, and it's crazy. I know for a fact that a virus. If you was to say, for instance, you was to just to go in and swim in your local estuary or lake now, and you only went into that up to your waist, and there was a virus in that water, that has a potential to get into your body, because it don't have to go in through the mouth or the nose. It don't have to go in through the eyes. It can go through the biggest organ of your body, which is your skin.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your willy.
Well, hey, mine is. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for the show. Thanks for tuning in. But, That's the fact. Your whole epidermis is a two-way thing. You can sweat, you leach. I mean, I use Lugel's iodine. I put it on my bits here, and
You
and it
use
disappears.
what? You use
Lugel's
lube?
iodine.
Lube?
A lot of us are iodine deficient. We're iodine deficient. We have
Right.
because all of our
Right.
meats years ago were kept preserved in iodine, bred in iodine. Loads of us have got thyroid issues because we don't have iodine. Now, Lugel's iodine is a food grade iodine. If you put 2 drops of it on your things here and it disappears within 5 minutes, you're iodine deficient. We're so deficient on so many minerals and vitamins. It's unbelievable. Now, why is the health service not teaching people how to build their immune system? Why is it not talking about vitamin C, vitamin
That's
D,
right.
boosting your immune system? But
That's
you
right.
go to a shop and someone will tear your eyes out because you've not got a mask on. You look at their shopping trolley, fizzy drinks, Coca-Cola, pizza, burgers. And I say, do you not go past the green section? Do you not know what immune system therapy is? Do you know how important your immune system is? And they look at you and then they're
Spot
out.
on.
There was someone sent me a picture earlier of a woman that was smoking and she's got a mask down under her chin. So she's smoking her fag. And then obviously when she goes in, she's now a social justice warrior and she's got a mask out. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Protect your lungs. And I'm like, well, you've just been out for a cigarette. You know, where's this? I see a guy the other day in Maidstone. I was taking my missus to pick up the horse lorry. Had some work done it. And he's got out of his little Fiat 500, quite a big, I don't know, he's in his 60s, maybe later, might have been 70s. He's got his mask on. He's walked into a vaping shop to get all his vaping products, his oils, this, that, the other. He got back in his car, chuffed as a monkey, and drove off. I thought, you're going to go home and consume all that, and you're worried about wearing a mask, and you're putting all that on your lungs. Are you what's up with you people? Are you crazy or what? Crazy?
Oh, Dave, man.
It's craziness, isn't it? I mean, it's common sense.
You are the voice. Yeah, it is common sense. You are the voice of reason. It is so lovely to have a chat with you again. We did a show together first time about, I don't know, 4 years ago, I suppose, about Brexit. And you came on with one or two other folks just to have a chat on Discord or whatever.
That's right, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I want to hear more from this guy. And mate, where you are a lot more active on YouTube now, than on Facebook. What's your channel? Have you personalised the name to your channel?
Yeah, it's just Dave Witcher, and the profile picture's got like a V for Vendetta. It's the Guy Fawkes in the black silhouette, gangster type, Al Pacino. You know, yeah, no, it's good. And my channel, I've had the channel a few years, but never really done anything with it. I never really found myself lending too much to YouTube, and then I got banned on Facebook for 3 months for doing a live stream.
Really, that's quite a
just
stretch.
Before the COVID-19 breakout. So I went through the wilderness for 90 days, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm done with Facebook. I'm literally done. I had a chat with Graham Moore.
Yeah.
Dirty Dragon, his YouTube channel's just under 30. Is he 30,000 subscribers now? He's really getting up there, or close to 20,000. But he does videos all the time. So I looked at that and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go for it. So I've done the man cave out, connected all the flat screens, and got this up and running. And I've been loving it ever since. I love it. It's so much fun, and it's growing. I've got 740 subscribers now, so that's in 3.5 months. That's an extra 640 people. So, but I'd rather it grow slowly and get people to tunes into it with my energy and the stuff we talk about, rather than getting all the trolls. So it's growing. I've got great moderators in there that keep their eye on all the chat and make sure everything's nice and clean. And it's just fun.
When do you stream? I really like your studio, by the way. It's really cool. When do you stream?
I've got my Boris bag here. Look. Got my Boris bag. I've been doing a lot of training the last few months. My old body's come in. I've been weight training, cycling, boxing.
What's a Boris bag?
It's a punch bag.
You've got right. Okay, you call that Boris bag.
There we go.
Oh God. Go on, mate. Yeah, it is a man cave. Right. So when do you do a regular slot show or what?
Opportunism, a bit Dick Turpin. I just turn up. I have a gig. I use StreamYard as well and Be Live TV, so I get interactive. I share videos, news videos, this clip, that clip, all stuff going on. People love it. It's real, and we really just have a lovely time over there. It's just beautiful, man. It's really
What's
good.
Be Live? What's Be Live? I never heard
Be
of it.
Live is a streaming app where you can bring guests in, split screen, and you can share videos. And StreamYard is the same. You can have 20 hours a month on StreamYard for free. I won't pay these corporations. I've got plenty of money. Money's not a problem for me. But I just won't sponsor none of these corporations. I just can't. It goes against my ethos.
You know, I want to do a regular show with you, Dave.
Yeah, good,
I want to
mate.
do a
Let's do it.
regular show. Oh, mate, I'd love to. And maybe we could put in a guest
Don't make me
and
cry.
interview them between us and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
I don't think there's anything that you've said tonight that I can disagree with. I don't know. Actually, you know what? I don't know anything. And anything that I think I might know, I hope I'm wrong about, normally.
Well, yeah, none of us know anything anyway, Ollie. We're all flying by the seat of our pants right now because we're in uncharted waters. We've got a shark swimming round outside, and the fish are all in the school. We're not sure where we're going, but I know where I'm going. I mean, I've been dabbling with the system for many years. There was something happened really interesting last Saturday. There was a big protest in London, and all the people got up to the BBC and they were calling that statue outside with that man and that naked child be taken down. We're
What, outside the BBC?
Yeah, there's a paedophile statue outside
That's
the
right.
BBC in the Stone
That's right.
Wall. I mean,
Huh.
what is up with these people? Have they turned their soul off? Have they sold their soul? What's
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so,
in the good,
actually.
well, in the good book, it says, "What does it profit a man that inherits the whole world, but in turn loses his soul?" And that I've never forgot that bit of the scripture. What is the point in obtaining everything in this world, but if you lose your soul in the process, what's the point? There's no point.
I guess I personally, I am quite philosophical about it. I figure this life is very short. I look at, elderly people like my parents are or were, and my grandparents and what have you, and they all say the same thing. It'll be blink of an eye and you'll be where we are. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to sell out and just be a job's worth, frankly, because life is too short. What's the point? I'd rather, have a good time, being honest, my kind of what I consider to be a good time. And if, I end up, in a grave, early grave or whatever, at least I will have enjoyed my life doing it rather than being enslaved. But so many people, they don't see, I don't know. The thing is, people have lost their sense of spirituality. I don't know what the reality. I don't with that as well. With nothing, I know nothing. But I do kind of think, for the sake of the blink of an eye, you might as well hope maybe there's something going on upstairs or round the corner or something. And if there is, great. And if there isn't, what actually have you done to achieve anything? If you're just But actually, that maybe that isn't the main problem we got, Dave. Maybe one of the biggest problems we got is that so many people are born with a psychiatric disorder, which is psychopathy.
I don't know about born with it. I think all kids come into the world as pure as God created them.
Mm-hmm.
I think through their education and indoctrination, then things happen. If we was just left alone in our equity and our rights, we wouldn't be in none of this mess. It's like the system to me is like a cat and a mouse. The cat will catch a mouse, wear the mouse, and the cat will play with it, and it'll think it's all good, and all of a sudden it just bite its head off. That's the kind of mentality that we have. So quite a few years ago, a friend of mine was working in Maidstone Hospital, and he said, "Pop me in for lunch." And I drove round the back, and it was where the mortuary was. And I went in through the mortuary and see lots of bodies laying around, and then he showed me, the guy, the mortician, showed me all the bodies that are in the freezers, all in there. And I stood up the big long end of this big freezer, and I see all these bodies just stacked up on one another on these pull-out conveyor belts. And I just stood there, and I thought, all of these people all had their lives, and now they came over, they've gone to the never, never. I wonder what they achieved in their life. I wonder what they actually did. Did they do anything good for humanity? Did they stand up? Were they counted, or was they just drones? And it was just, I looked at them all and I thought, when I'm laying in here and people think about me, I want them to think of me in fondness, and I want them to think that Dave was actually someone that tried to change the world to bring back the light, and know within myself that, within my soul, that I tried to make a difference, and that's what I'm here for, Ollie. I'm not here for anything else. I'm not here for fame or fortune. I don't regard
just as well, because you ain't going to get that.
I don't regard them as valuable. I think soul is valuable, life is valuable. We are the value, and
whiskey.
They've lost their self-worth, and we need to put the pride back into them, and we need to change. We are changing, Ollie. We're there. This year is the year for greatness. I tell you, brother. I mean, we really are on a precipice of something good. I'm telling you.
You better be right, mate, because otherwise I want my money back.
I feel it.
Which you would.
Cool. I wouldn't waste my time. I'm not someone that wastes my time on things if I don't think there's something good and positive coming out. I'm a creator with my hands. I'm in the building game. I like to do things and see something and see the greatness in it. That's why I don't get all this BLM, tearing down statues, all that, because that's destruction. I don't like destruction. And actually, I had some runestones read the other week and I recorded it. And the goddess Shiva come up, because Shiva's the goddess of destruction. So when this Shiva thing come up, I said to my friend that was giving me the reading, well, I don't like that. She went, well, why not? She said, because you have got the Shiva thing. I said, what? She said, don't forget destruction. She said, destruction can be good and bad. She said, if you're destroying the old and bringing in the new, that's a good thing, right? And I went, I never thought about it like that.
That's true.
So she said, you carry on what you're doing. You're in the right place. It was a great reading. I recorded it all. So look, we're just here. We're doing what we're doing. We're doing it in faith. We're walking in faith. We're walking in strength and unity. Jesse Perez Casanova, Christopher, I can't think of his surname. He's got a warriorcalls.com. They're all now saying, right, unity together. We can do this together, and we need unity. Is something we all need to be singing off the same hymn sheet, Ollie. We need humanity, mankind, to come together now. The kids, the elderly, every one of us to stand side by side and go, we're not having this no more. We want something new, and we will get it. Trust me, we will.
Dave Witcher.
That's it, brother. God bless you. So yeah, right. Are we going to end this?
Yeah, that's it. The music's on, mate. God bless you. God bless you. Witchy woo. Hold on. You probably can't hear the music, can you?
Yeah, I can hear it, yeah.
Oh, you can? All right. And everybody else can probably hear it twice, because I think the music track has got an echo. I don't know why. I've got no idea, but I know that Dave didn't. You had to refresh the browser about 15 times. I don't know. That's my estimation, that people, from what they were saying in the comments.
Good.
Dave, God bless you, mate. Hey, maybe a couple of weeks' time? Do this again, sir. Please.
Yeah, let's do it. Where I can get you on the... We'll sort it out. In the meantime, we'll chat. We'll look it up. We'll get
God bless you. We should do a dual stream. Stream. That would be good fun.
Yeah,
we'll work it out. We'll work that. Even more tech for me to bugger up.
bless you, Ollie. Thanks for your time, brother.
God bless you, Dave Witcher. God bless you, mate. God bless you.
See you soon.
That's it. That's it for the week. I'm off, having a long weekend. I'll see you Monday. Monday, 9 o'clock, UK time. That's 4 p.m. EDT. Mr. President, if you want to come in and tell us about draining the swamp and when you're going to lock up Hillary. Yeah, I'm going to get the homepage sorted for dailychaos.news. I am. I've sorted out a fantastic new system with the Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL. Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. So I'm immersed in that and visual code and stuff like that with my Ubuntu stack. Yeah, I don't understand any of it either, but it's just more tech for me to bugger up. So I'm working on that. I will sort out the homepage, and that will be an amazing resource at dailychaos.news because nobody understands how to use a forum. That's very evident. See you Monday, folks. Have a lovely weekend. Here's to us. And bugger plutocracy. Aye.